The Coravin Wine Preservation System was introduced in 2011. It didn't take long for Coravins to become the talk of the wine world. Coravins began to show up in white tablecloth restaurants, in wine bags of wine sales reps, and with wine collectors alike. What made Coravins different was the fact that you didn't have to remove the cork, and supposedly the system would even allow you to hold on to unused portions of wine for months, even years, and still maintain its freshness as if it were just open. Does it really work? Well, in this video, I'm going to find out. Hi, I'm Reg Narito. Thanks for joining me. In this video, I'm going to test the Coravin Wine Preservation System to see if it does what it says it can do. My test involves 3 bottles of the same wine, in this case a 2021 Daou Cabernet Sauvignon out of Paso Robles. Using the Coravin, I took a glass out of each one, 3 weeks apart. I started the test at the beginning of February with the first glass. The second glass was 3 weeks later, and the final one I just poured today. In a bit, I'm going to taste each one and compare them. To add a final twist, I'm going to have my son switch the wines around so I don't know which order they're in. That way there's no prejudice when I taste them. It will lend a bit more authenticity to the test. Wine preservation systems are nothing new. When I worked in the restaurant business back in the 1980s, we used those vacuum pumps on the wines we were serving by the glass. They did work to a degree. I believe they extended the life of the open bottle by a couple of days or so, which for the most part served its purpose well. Most of the wines we served by the glass were pretty much used up within a week or so anyway. When I began working in wine sales in the 1990s, I used the private reserve gas in canisters, which I still use today. In a previous video, I showed how it worked. Depending on how many tastes of the wine you poured, the open bottle would last 5 to 7 days, and in some instances up to 2 weeks. There was some noticeable degradation in freshness and structure at around the 10-day mark, but the wine was perfectly enjoyable after 2 weeks. Finally, there's the Coravin. I started using one maybe 10 years ago or so. When I took wines out in the field to taste customers, I wanted the wines to be showing as well as they could, and I knew I could do that with the Coravin. Most of the time, I would go through a bottle within 2 to 3 days, so I doubt anyone would notice any degradation in quality. I did know that when customers saw I was using a Coravin, they knew I was serious about showing the wine in the best light. Okay, back to the test. So again, I have 3 bottles of the same wine, and the first bottle I opened up at the beginning of February, which is the one to my left here. The second bottle I opened up 3 weeks later, and again I poured about a glass, a little bit more out of each one. And then the final one, which is right here, I just poured maybe 30 minutes ago. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the bottles aside, and then I'm going to leave the room for a bit, and then I'm going to have my son rearrange the wines, but still remember what the original order was, so I can taste the wines and not know which ones were which. And then I'll ask him later on which ones were in what order, and we'll find out what the results of the test were. So here we go. Okay, I'm back. Probably took a little bit more than I thought it would, but that's what happens when you're dealing with young children. Actually, he's 22 years old. He's a great kid. Okay, so I have the 3 wines. I don't know what order they're in, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to taste each one. So I'll start with the one on the left. It's kind of muted on the nose. I'll smell this one. This one's muted as well. Final one. This one smells the freshest out of the 3. So let me taste each one. The wine still tastes fresh. There doesn't seem to be any drying out of the fruit. It still has medium plus tannin. Just slightly above medium on the acid, but still vibrant, dark fruit. And I can taste the oak, the vanilla oak on there. I'll taste the other 2 and then give you my opinion. So the second one, which I also said was kind of muted on the nose. This one does not seem to be as expressive as the first one. Not to say that it's bad, it still shows the ripe dark fruit and the oak. The tannin is still fine, the acidity is still in place, but it is just maybe a half step lower in terms of its vibrancy on the palate. Now let's go to the final one, which I said was the most aromatic of the three. Yeah, that one tastes the freshest. Although this one's not that far behind, but this one is more open and forward, not only on the palate, but also in aroma. This one is a little bit more subtle, but has, it's still pretty vibrant on the palate. And then this one was probably the one that was showing the least. So I would say this is the one that was showing, that I opened in the beginning of February. This is the one that I opened up on the 3rd week of February. And then this one was opened up just a little while ago. So we'll be back and I'll let you know which ones were which, and then we'll conclude the tasting. Okay, I'm back, and my son has given me a list of the wines in what order they were in. But just to recap from my tasting, I thought that the freshest wine of the bunch was the one on my far right. I thought that it was the most vibrant and tasted the best, and I thought this is the one that we opened up today. The one that came in second in terms of freshness of aroma and flavor was the one on my far left. This is the one that I thought we opened up 3 weeks ago. And the one that I thought was showing the least out of all of them was the one in the middle. And this is the one that I thought we opened up 6 weeks ago. Looking at my son's list, I see that I got the one on the far left correct. This is the one we opened up 3 weeks ago. But believe it or not, the other two were actually switched around. So the one that showed the best out of all three of these was actually the one that we opened up 6 weeks ago, which is pretty incredible, because I think that if I had gotten just a regular bottle of wine, popped the cork, poured a glass, put the cork back on it, and put the bottle on my counter, there is no way that it would taste and smell like this wine does here. It would have been dried out, it would have been pruny, and this is not the style of wine that I like to drink. And to know that these wines, these two wines here that have had some time in the bottle after they've been opened, are better than a wine that I opened up just today is just simply incredible. And again, if that doesn't prove to you how good the system is, I don't know what else to tell you. However, it is worth noting that the Coravin does have a couple of drawbacks that you should consider if you're looking to buy one. The first and the most obvious one is the price. I checked online, and the standard Coravin like this one here is $230 on Amazon. There's also the Coravin Pivot, which looks to me like it's new. It looks like a scaled down version and only claims to keep wines fresh for 4 weeks for $120. But still, that's 10 times more than the private reserve canister gas. There's also the question of gas cartridges needed to run the system. They say one gas cartridge is good for up to 15 uses. I tend to get about 12 to 13 uses per cartridge, but that's just me. Gas cartridges online sell for about $50 for 6. So if you plan on using this for your own private consumption, depending on how much wine you drink, 6 cartridges may last you a year. But if you work as a wine sales rep, you might go through 6 in a month. At the end of the day, if you can stomach the cost of the system and refill cartridges, there isn't another wine preservation system that I know of that compares. It's a great product. Now, if you like this video, I hope you press the like icon. And if you'd like to see more videos just like this, I hope you'll press subscribe. Until next time, peace out.